It's time for Ethiopian Americans to rethink their loyalty to the Democratic Party. For decades, many Ethiopian Americans have aligned themselves with the Democratic Party, often due to historical ties, perceptions of the party's inclusiveness, and promises of immigrant-friendly policies. However, a growing number of Ethiopian Americans are beginning to question this loyalty, arguing that their interests and the well-being of their homeland are not adequately represented. Here are some reasons why Ethiopian Americans should critically reevaluate their support for the Democratic Party. First, the Democratic Party is taking Ethiopian American votes for granted. The Democratic Party has consistently relied on immigrant communities, including Ethiopian Americans, as a secure voting bloc. This has created a dynamic where their votes are taken for granted rather than earned. Instead of actively addressing issues that matter to Ethiopian Americans, Democrats often provide symbolic gestures without meaningful action. This lack of accountability leaves the community politically marginalized, with their concerns often ignored in favor of broader party priorities. Secondly, alliance with authoritarian regimes. A significant point of contention is the Democratic Party's historical and ongoing alignment with authoritarian governments in Ethiopia. Under the leadership of Meles Zenawi and the TPLF, Tigray People's Liberation Front, Ethiopia saw years of oppression, ethnic favoritism, and human rights abuses. The United States, under democratic administrations, maintained strong ties with the TPLF government, often overlooking these violations in favor of geopolitical interests. Similarly, the Prosperity Party, led by Abiy Ahmed, has been accused of continuing authoritarian practices, including stifling dissent and enabling ethnic violence. Ethiopian Americans who oppose these regimes find it troubling that democratic administrations and their foreign policy apparatus frequently support such governments, prioritizing regional stability over Ethiopian democracy and sovereignty. Thirdly, promotion of ethnic division and violence. The Democratic Party has often championed identity politics both domestically and abroad. In Ethiopia, this has translated into tacit support for policies and groups that exacerbate ethnic divisions. The ethnic federalism model implemented under the TPLF-led regime, which some argue laid the groundwork for ongoing ethnic violence, received little criticism from democratic leaders. Ethiopian Americans who value national unity view this as a betrayal of their homeland's stability and cohesion. Fourth, corruption and pay-to-play politics. Critics argue that democratic representatives and bureaucrats prioritize policies that benefit their largest donors, even at the expense of Ethiopian interests. For Ethiopian Americans, this translates into a lack of advocacy for issues that matter to their community. Instead, the focus remains on maintaining relationships with well-funded lobbyists and international organizations that may not align with Ethiopian values or priorities. Fifth, the Democrats have had hostility toward Ethiopian interests since President Jimmy Carter. Ethiopian Americans point to a pattern of democratic administrations acting against Ethiopia's best interests. President Jimmy Carter, his administration's handling of the Ethiopian civil war and famine, is often criticized as ineffectual and politically driven. President Bill Clinton, his policies supported the TPLF, which many Ethiopians see as responsible for institutionalizing ethnic federalism and authoritarian governance. President Barack Obama, his administration maintained close ties with the Ethiopian government, despite widespread allegations of human rights abuses and suppression of opposition groups. President Joe Biden, his administration's approach to the conflict in northern Ethiopia has shown clear support for Abiy Ahmed's government, despite substantial evidence of genocide against the Amhara people in Fano, further deepening frustration among Ethiopian Americans. Sixth, the Democrats promoted extreme liberal policies in the U.S. and abroad. Ethiopian Americans, many of whom hold conservative cultural values, often find themselves at odds with the Democratic Party's increasingly progressive agenda. Domestically, issues like gender identity politics, abortion, and the erosion of religious freedoms clash with the deeply held beliefs of many in the Ethiopian American community. Internationally, the promotion of similar liberal policies abroad is viewed as cultural imperialism, undermining traditional Ethiopian values. A call for political realignment. Ethiopian Americans are not monolithic in their political views, but there is a growing consensus that the Democratic Party no longer represents their best interests. It is time for the community to explore alternative political alignments that prioritize respect for Ethiopian sovereignty and unity, advocacy for policies that strengthen the Ethiopian diaspora and its contributions to American society, recognition of culturally conservative values that resonate deeply within the community. By diversifying their political engagement and demanding accountability from all parties, Ethiopian Americans can ensure their voices are heard and their concerns addressed. Loyalty to a single party without question has not served the community well. A thoughtful reassessment of political alliances is long overdue. Thank you for watching. If you've found our content helpful, please subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us grow and ensures you never miss updates. Don't forget to like this video. It lets us know we're on the right track, and share it with others who might benefit. Your engagement makes a big difference and helps us reach more viewers like you. Thank you.